What's going on, people? I'm gonna jump in the shower in a second, brush my teeth and floss. Always floss when you brush your teeth so plaque doesn't build up in your gums, your teeth. You don't want tartar building up. Try to break it down as much as possible. If you want to brush your teeth really good, watch those videos that show people with really bad teeth and they have bad plaque, so it can remind you brush your teeth every day or after every time you eat. A few hours after you eat, brush your teeth. But anyway, I was looking at a couple videos in the gym, and one of my favorite songs, one of my top 100 favorite songs, is "Where Were You When the Lights Went Out" by the Tramps. Now that song is based on the blackout that happened in New York City like 46 years ago. And the game, The Warriors, that I had, I think I still have it. Maybe I'll one day get a PS2, like another one. I don't know. But there's a mission where they have a blackout. Like the blackout in New York City happened in '77, but the game is based in '79. So that mission where you gotta get out, like you have to run back to your spot in New York, and everybody's looting and robbing stores and fighting. That's based on the blackout of '77. Now I want to tell you about my own little experience with rioting and looting, because everybody compares 2020 to 1968. They say how that was like our generation's 1968. It was becoming like really the whole 60s decade with everything that was going on. But I want to tell you my experience of the George Floyd riots of 2020, because these riots took place in primarily cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, Baltimore, New York City, Philadelphia, New Jersey, everywhere. And I happened to be off from work that day. I worked at a store at the time. I was working in customer service. I was working at a job in Northeast Philly. My first real job, my first job where I wasn't washing dishes. I worked this job. I had off this Saturday. And I was so tired because I worked so much there and I didn't work enough like I do now, but I was so tired that I stayed up the whole night, but I slept through the whole day. And I did that a lot. When I used to have a bed and, all that stuff, I would just sleep in my bed all day. And I would really wake up just in enough time to leave for work. So if I had work at 3 o'clock, or usually it was 5, I'll be up by like 12, 1 o'clock, because I just had like a lot of problems with sleep. But I am sleep the whole day. I get home. I remember I had off Friday. I got home. I would always get home at like 11:30, 12. And it was really scary, like getting home, catching a bus, catching a 70 bus. It was just the neighborhood we were in was getting bad. The reputation of Philly at the time, I just never felt okay getting like walking home off the bus. But I remember I would stay up. Eventually I'd go to sleep, maybe like 6 o'clock. And I got up, and then whenever I would eat, I'll get tired. So I just slept the whole day. But I remember they were talking about this black dude that was killed by the police on 6ABC, and I just said, "Oh, okay, that doesn't surprise me." Man, I get up. It's like 2:30 in the morning, and that little Amber Alert, because I did sleep with the TV on. I always had the TV on for a number of reasons. I ain't really gonna tell you in this video, but I wake up and I think it's an Amber Alert, because I get scared whenever that the Amber Alert, like siren goes off on your TV. You just get real scared, like when you think it's like when it's an abduction or something crazy is going on, you just don't want to be in the dark when you hear that go off. So I'm like, what's going on? And I hear them saying that there's a curfew in effect at 8 p.m. Everyone be indoors 8 p.m. I'm like, what's going on right now? What's going on? And I don't have a phone. At the time I didn't have a cell phone. So I go to my only source of the news, which is my laptop, like the news. And obviously for the black guy that died, there was I guess a riot for his death. It just touched everybody. So I'm on the internet just looking what's going on in every city, everywhere. I'm just looking at videos. It's people protesting over his death. And fast forward to going outside, the aftermath of everything is heartbreaking. Now I'm not I didn't live like in the ghetto, but it was an area that was undergoing what I would call urbanization. Urbanization. It's the opposite of gentrification. I guess you could say that. But it's more like we lived in a mixed area, but it just became more like the hood over time. So I go outside, and the 7-Eleven that I went to for years, I mean, I lived in that area. I was 8 years old, going on 9. But that very 7-Eleven that I went to for years, windows busted. Every window in there was busted. Obviously it was closed. They weren't letting people in there. The Rite Aid across the street that I went to for years as well. Well, I didn't really eat out there, but we went there as kids. They went in there, man. They stole drugs out the pharmacy, stealing food, whatever they can get their hands on, mainly drugs, primarily drugs. That store had all the drugs taken out of there. Sunoco gas station, I sort of ate out of when I was 17, 18, but not really. Same thing. Busted windows, store looted, shut down, nobody allowed in there. I'm only looking at the stores that I see, that I go in. But 7-Eleven, Rite Aid, Sunoco, looted, windows busted. And I'm just looking at where I grew up at. Everything is in ruins. Like it's a lot worse the poorer the area gets. Because I'm gonna explain this to you about Philly. West Philly, and with gentrification, not as much I can say, but North Philadelphia and West Philly is primarily black. But like I told you, with gentrification, I think in the next 20 years, North Philly will mostly be like white. But college kids will be like the main dwellers of that area. Just how they did Los Angeles, North Philly will be mostly college kids. But I want to just tell you this. I want to break this down for you. People talking about how outsiders were coming in from like the suburbs in the city, looting and doing all that buffoonery. I know who's from West Philly. I know who's from North Philly. I know in Germantown also was mostly black. That's kind of like North Philly, I guess. I don't know. More like Northwest. But what I saw in some of these videos in Philly with rioting and looting, I didn't see people from out of town. I know when someone is from North Philly. I know when someone's from West Philly. I could tell pretty good. So when I saw them looting like in Germantown, that doesn't look like people from out of town to me. Who would go? Who would have enough guts that's from the suburbs to go in the hood and destroy their own stuff? Think about it like that. Would you have the courage to go in an area that is known for crime and people you don't know? Would you go in their territory, their hood, and destroy their own property? Probably not. I would guess if you're from the suburbs, you would go downtown out of anywhere than go to someone else's neighborhood. But this is my belief. The neighborhood, the hoods like West Philly, North Philly, Southwest, where I'm from, in Germantown, that was all. I'm just saying, that was not people from out of town. That was not people from out of town. People were using that defense. It was not people out of town. Downtown now, yeah, those people were out of town. But everywhere else, those were the people. I'm just going to say that. But it was real heartbreaking to look at that. I'm going to do a part 2 to this. But what I saw really, when that happened, let me just say this. The day that happened, that's when the police force became weak. They lost all of the fear and all the fear that people had of the Philadelphia Police Department was gone that day. When they got on one knee with the rest of them, and because I was sort of like, I was at the time, I was sort of like pro law enforcement. I was against like the riots, but I'm sort of like in the middle. I don't really support law enforcement at this point, but I'm not like a progressive at the same time. But I'm gonna do a part 2 to this.